Yesterday, we did our test on verbs and indeclinables, and it also included nouns and the concept of sentences in total. And I think a lot of people gave feedback that it was very hard. Some said it was okay-ish. No one found it easy. So we'll go through the test slowly today, and then I will tell you how we will figure out making it easier. The other thing to remember, whatever it is that you get in the test, the purpose of the test is not to get good marks. The purpose of the test is to check your understanding. And once you know what you don't understand, then it's never going to be not understood again. Because when we're tested, we're forced to question our understanding. And then what we do after that is the question. If you use what you don't understand to guide you on studying it, then you'll understand it. It's really not about who passed, who didn't pass, who got this much, who got that much. It's about understanding. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through the test today. Now, first question was 2 parts. True or false? Chalati equals third person singular. That should have been very easy. That was true. Then smaravaha. Smaravaha, if you look at your table, is first person. That part is correct, but it is dual. So this is false. Smaravaha is dual. And then finally, gachataha. Gachataha, if you look at your table, that taha is second person dual. So this is true. So true, false, true. So far, 3 out of 3. Now the problem came where some people didn't read this part or didn't hear me say it again or what, but write the correct pronoun for each verb. What was the correct pronoun for each verb? For chalati, what is chalati's correct pronoun? It is saha or sa or tat. If you wrote any of them, you get 1 point. If you wrote all 3, it's not 3 points, 1 point. Then smaravaha, the correct pronoun for smaravaha is avam, not avam, avam, avam. And then gachataha. Gachataha, the correct one will be yavam. If you didn't get this, that's because you just didn't read the instructions properly. This was 3 free marks because once you know the verb, the pronoun is evident. Okay, so that's another 3 out of 3. So this question is total out of 6. Good, so far so good. We move on. Okay. Now I come to the next question. What is wrong with the sentence and what should it be? So the first question is Hayau kshetre kridanti tu pandavanam raje vasataha. So now you see, what is your question to ask? You have to ask your simple question, what is the verb? There is a verb here and there is a verb here. There are 2 verbs in this sentence. What is kridanti? Kridanti is third person, plural, and vasataha is, third person, dual. And if you look and try to resolve now, where are the subjects in this sentence? That will be the next question. After you found verb, you have to find subject. So each verb should have a corresponding subject, or one of them is wrong. So you look now and you go through from the beginning. Is hayo a possible subject? Yes. All means first case, dual, masculine. Kshetre, not a subject. Tu, not a subject. Pandavanam, not a subject. Rajye, not a subject. So the only subject in this sentence is this. Even if you did not get to translate the rest of the sentence, that should have been enough to tell you that this is the subject for both the verbs kridanti and vasataha. Following my logic so far? Every verb must have a subject. When you translate the sentence and you try to look for the subject, you find hayo. Actually, the correct thing would have been to translate the whole sentence, but even if you didn't, this much you translated and you'd have been able to figure out that, hey, this verb is supposed to be dual. So this verb was supposed to be kridata. Kridata. Does that make sense? This question was there to remind you all you have to ask the question, what is the verb? What is the subject? Does it match? If you just ask those two questions and make sure it matches, you would have gotten the answer. If you don't ask that question, then you don't get that answer. You have to ask that question. Where is my verb? What is my verb? Where is my subject? Make sure it matches. Okay? I see smiles. That means you're never going to make that mistake again. Some people got it. Some people got it. But if you didn't, this is the last time you'll not ask that question. Okay, let's continue. Vayam Ramena Gamamaha. Well, let me tell you all something. If you checked your table to see the meaning of gamamaha, or checked the verb gamamaha, or paid a little attention as we were going along, you would have realized there is nothing like gamamaha. What is gamamaha? Gamamaha is not a word. Gum is the verb root, and we don't use gum in the sentence, we use gacha. So the correct verb base for gum is gacha. So it should be gachamaha. Just because we vayam gachamaha, we go is plural, it does not mean that Rama has to be plural also. So some people thought Ramena was supposed to be Ramehi, meaning make Rama plural, but Rama can be singular. All of us can go with one Rama. The verb and the number for the verb has only to do with the subject, nothing to do with the other verbs, with the other nouns, I mean. Huh? So here the mistake was gachamaha. It's supposed to be gachamaha. So how do you score this? Well, 1 mark if you identified the mistake correctly for the first one, and a 2nd mark if you got the answer correct. So that's out of 2. And then here, 1 if you identified the mistake correctly, and 2 if you got it correct. If you got the answer, then you get 2 out of 2, because it means you found the mistake. If you found the mistake but made a mistake in writing the correct answer, then you get only 1. Okay, so this is out of 4 total, this question. 2 for each correct answer. Continue. Okay. English to Sanskrit. Desire indeed leads man to a state of sorrow and delusion. So now leave the translation and just let's figure out cases and verbs. Okay. Desire indeed leads man to a state of sorrow and delusion. What is our verb? Verb is leads. What is our subject? What leads? Desire leads. First case is desire. Singular and masculine. First case, singular, masculine. If desire is the subject, what is the verb? First, second, or third person? Third person. And because desire is singular, this is going to be singular. So far, so good. Verb matches subject in person and noun. Okay. Now, let us see the rest of the words. Can you find an object? Desire leads someone or something. Leads man. So man here will be second case object, singular, masculine. Not men, man. So it appears to be singular. If your English brain argued otherwise and you wrote plural, okay, fine, no problem. But it said man. Huh? It's a grammatical thing. If you put plural, I mean, it's not the end of the world, okay? It should be consistent with your answer then. Okay, next. What are our other nouns in this sentence? State, sorrow, delusion. So now let us see what are the cases for those. To a state. To is fourth case, singular, masculine. Sorrow, of sorrow. Sixth case, singular, masculine. And delusion, meaning and of delusion. So that is also sixth case, singular, masculine. But there are lots of other words. So now we go, indeed is indeclinable, and is indeclinable. Even if you didn't translate anything and you just did this much, you would have gotten many points. Every single one of these is 1 point. So give yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if you got this. And if you didn't write these, well, you just lost 8 points for not writing them. Remember I said every single time you must write them. This is out of 8. For every correct one, you give yourself 1 point. Continue. So now we translate. If you got this top part correct, then translating should have been very easy. Kamaha, desire, he, indeed. Then you put leads, the leads, nayati will go all the way at the end. If you didn't put it at the end and you put it anywhere else, it doesn't matter. Right? Order doesn't matter. Nayati, it leads, then you move backwards. Manushyam, man. Padaya, to a state. Shokasya mohasya cha, of sorrow and delusion. Traditionally, you'll see the cha at the end of the list, but if you had put it inside the middle, also no problem. So you make your corrections. And each of these is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. Now, if you had written plural for man, for instance, then you'd have to write Manushyan. Then you give yourself the point for that. Manushyan. Right? You should have translated it correctly. Cool? So far, so good? Can I move on? I'll take questions at the end. Okay. Okay. The sense organs worship objects, therefore they move from touch to smell, etc. What is our verb? What is the question? What is our verb? What is our verb? Our verb. Oh, so that question was 16 marks, by the way. Question number 1. Okay. What is our verb? Worship. Oh, there are 2 verbs. They move. Move is another word verb. So now, so now you'll have worship has its own subject and move has its own subject. So what is the subject of worship? What worships? The sense organs worship. So first case, singular, neuter. The sense organs worship. What do they worship? Is there an object? What do they worship? They worship objects. Second case, plural, masculine. The sense organs worship objects. Therefore, they move from touch to smell, etc. What is the subject of move? They. They is the subject of. So they will be first case, plural. And what is the they referring to? This was a tiny bit tricky. What is the they referring to? The sense organs. What is the gender of sense organs? Neuter. Remember, the gender of the noun must match the pronoun. The pronoun must match the noun it is replacing. The other way of saying this is therefore the sense objects move from touch to smell, etc. So the gender here is neuter. Give me 1 moment. My pen guy. Sorry. Technology problems. Okay. Where was I? They. They is neuter. Okay. It is neuter because it is referring to sense objects. They move. Now, what are our other nouns? From touch and smell. From touch will be fifth case, singular, neuter. Smell will be to smell. Fourth case, singular, neuter. Then you read the rest of the sentence. The sense organs worship objects, therefore is indeclinable. They move from touch to smell, etc. is indeclinable. Okay. So now here. Oh, we didn't put what verb this is. Oh no, we didn't do the verbs. Worship. Worship is the sense organs is third person, right? It is plural. And they move also third person, plural. So now here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Everyone's like, oh no, why didn't I write this? I'll take questions at the end, right? Yeah, I'll take questions at the end. Okay, now let's see the translation. Indriyani Vishayan Archanti. if you used another word for worship, like, but it has to be something I gave, huh? Anything I gave. Archanti, I think Yaj also I had given. Yajanti, huh? As long as you're using something I gave, you're okay. Tataha, therefore, tani, they, ghranaya, adi, sparshanat, cha, chalanti. I'll give you a moment to look at that. If you wrote something fancy, like Granadishu, well, I didn't teach that. So either you learned it already or ChatGPT told you, and ChatGPT is not invited to our Sanskrit tests. So technology is not invited to Sanskrit class. Okay. We're just using the literal translation. Okay. Okay, continue. Oh my God, it's 6:25. Let's continue. Now Sanskrit to English. Oh, so this was again 9. So this is each of the words that you got correct is out of 9. Even if you had just translated the indeclinables, you'd have gotten like more than half the marks of the question. No, maybe not half. How many indeclinables? 1, 2. You'd have gotten 4. So 9 and 9, 18 for this question. Next. Yadva sa pathati smrati va sa mitrabhyam kridati. So now let us see. What is our verb? Verb is pathati, third person singular. Smrati, third person singular. And kridati, 3 verbs. Third person singular. So we're looking for a third person singular subject for each of them. So you read, what is on the subjects we can see are sa, first case singular, feminine. First case singular, feminine. Sa pathati smarati. Pathati means she reads or studies. You can translate it however. And smarati means she remembers or she's remembered. However you translate it, she is remembering or she remembers. Sa pathati smarati va. And then the other noun in this sentence is mitrabhyam. Mitrabhyam is third or fourth or fifth case dual neuter. So if you had written 3, 4, or 5 for that, you would have gotten that point correct. Okay, whichever one you wrote is correct. So now and then remaining is indeclinable, indeclinable. So now you count your points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is out of 8. And then the translation. Whether she reads or remembers, she plays with 2 friends. So now this is, if you didn't get the exact translation, it's okay. You must have gotten 2 friends, not just friends. You could have said for, from, it doesn't matter what, but the 2 friends should have been correct. Okay, so that's 1 point for 2 friends. She plays, that she plays has to be correct. And she reads and remembers. So she reads, remembers, is reading, is remembering, studies, whatever you use, no problem. 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, 4 points. This one is out of 4. Few key things you had to get right, and the exact translation doesn't matter. So that question was out of 12. Last question. Let's see if we can finish it in the 2 minutes. Avam kulam rakshavaha. That is in quotations. Iti mudhau vadataha tataha cha Amuraha hasanti. So now you'll see there are 1, 2, 3 verbs. Rakshavaha is first person dual. Vadattaha is third person dual. And hasanti is third person plural. So that means because each of them has a different number and person, it means that they're all going to have their own subjects. So let us look. What is the subject for Rakshavaha? Rakshavaha is avam, first case dual. No gender for I or we. Avam Rakshavaha. What is the subject for Vadattaha? Vadattaha, we're looking for a dual subject. Mudho, first case dual masculine. And what is the subject for Hasanti? Hasanti, we're looking for a plural subject. Amudhaha. Oh, not singular, plural. Then, now we go to the beginning. Rakshavaha, aham rakshavaha. We to protect. What do we protect? Oh, what do we protect? We protect kulam. So kulam is the object. Second, neuter, singular. We to protect the family. Iti is indeclinable. Then tatahacha is also indeclinable. So then now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 points for getting these cases and person, and this is out of 10. And finally, the translation is we to protect the family. Thus two fools speak and then wise ones laugh. So now your point is going to be for we to protect, that is 1. If you got the 2 of the we too has to be there. Family, the family is singular. So if you got the family, that's another 1 point. So there's 2. 2 fools, you had to get 2 fools. That is third point. Speak means it should, that 2 fools speak. So then there's 1 and 1. So that's 2. So 2 here, 2 here. Then here, wise ones laugh. That's another 2 points. Not we laugh, wise ones. Or however, right? The connotation of subject and verb should come. Okay, so 2, 2, 2. So this one is out of 6. Okay, so now you can calculate your marks. Remember, the mark calculation is not to judge you. It is for you to indicate to yourself how much you understand. And I am being very strict about this business, writing what each word is, because that is the only way you will actually get the correct meaning as you go along. I'm being super strict for a reason. Okay, now I see lots of messages in the chat. That it is true. The how is sense organs singular? No, sense organs is supposed to be plural. I put singular. No, I translated it as plural. It's supposed to be plural. Sometimes in talking, plural. The sentences were long. That is true, right? For the time, the sentences were long. That is true. So if that was your only issue, then you're good. But if it was more than that, then you'll need a little bit more practice. Oh. So now let me suggest, I'll just tell you all one thing, and then I will do closing prayer. Sorry for the 4-minute delay. One thing I want to tell you, if you're struggling with the concept of figuring out verb, subject, all of that, even from the English sentence itself, then you're going to have to start from the very beginning. If you are struggling to figure out, how to take this word grammar and make it third case, then again, that is a struggle that you're going to have to go back and review. Huh? So my suggestion is, it's not a bad thing. And because you've been to class for so many weeks consistently, some things would have registered in your mind. So my suggestion is, for this weekend, you start from class number 1 in grammar, and today you listen to 2, tomorrow you listen to 2, and Sunday you listen to 2. If you can squeeze in up to number 7, that will clarify sentences and nouns very well in your mind again. If you don't have issues with it, then it's a free weekend for you. But if it is something you're not understanding, then you must go back and review it so that it becomes clear in your mind. Okay? And do the homework also as you go along for those sentences. That is the best advice I can give for reviewing that. And then on Monday, I'll take questions for that section. Anything related to um, English sentences and figuring out cases and going from English to Sanskrit like that. Okay? Yes, I'll send the link. They're all on YouTube, so you can watch them. Okay. Closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Satgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay. I'm not going to ask for your marks for this test. Huh? You're going to just, it doesn't matter what you got. I mean it. It really doesn't matter what you got. It's for you to know where you went wrong and to learn from that.